Welcome to the Master Cars Pro channel. Today we'll talk about the problems and weaknesses of Nissan Micra. There was a time when the Nissan Micra vied for top honors in the small car class thanks to its increasingly quirky styling and seemingly unburstable reliability. By the time this version arrived in 2010, however, Nissan employed a safer design, but in doing so lost much of what had made the Micra's predecessors so distinctive. The fourth generation model is, however, a larger car than the one it replaces, although even then it's squeezy to get a folded baby buggy in the boot. Also, if you opt for the entry-level model, you only get a single-piece folding rear seat rather than the split folding layout on higher trim levels. The 5-door layout does at least mean access is easy. There's also generous headroom for all passengers and a useful number of in-car storage areas, but a steering wheel that only adjusts for height and not reach doesn't help when it comes to finding a comfortable driving position. This generation of Micra is also unusual for the fact that interior quality appeared to take a backward step compared with what rivals offered. The plastics feel hard and cheap, the digital displays are basic, and the design of the silver circular heater control might bring to mind that old Walkman you owned a couple of decades ago. However, one Micra trait did at least remain, which is that this car is increasingly easy to drive. For that, you can thank the light controls, a very tight turning circle, and excellent all-round visibility. The engine range is limited to just a 1.2 liter petrol, which is available in standard from with 79 bhp or with a supercharger to boost from the power output to 97 bhp. If you plan on regularly venturing out of town, it's worth spending extra on the supercharged unit, which, although far from fast, it does at least give the Micra a respectable get up and go. Mind you, one up to speed, you'll discover the Micra's crashy, noisy ride and lifeless handling, which represents something of a problem with rivals as talented as the Ford Fiesta and Volkswagen Polo. For those who don't want a manual gearbox, the Micra is also available with a CVT automatic, but this time makes for a noisy companion under anything more demanding than moderate acceleration. A facelift in 2013 resulted in revised styling and improved equipment levels, but even then the Micra struggled to gain much attention against increasingly impressive rivals. Regardless of whether you choose the basic engine or the supercharged version, you can expect about 50 mpg from the Micra if fitted with a manual gearbox, or about 40 mpg with the CVT automatic installed. The lower powered engine costs £30 per year to tax, whereas the supercharged unit qualifies for tax exemption thanks to the sub 100 gram per kilometer as CO2 output that results from having stop-start. Fitted again, though, opting for the CVT will cost you in the long run because it pushes up CO2 emissions. For the supercharged engine, this means you'll pay £30 per year, while for the more basic engine you'll face a tax bill of £110 per year. Nissan charges from £189 for service on a Micra at its dealers. That's quite a bit more than you'll pay for a Ford Fiesta, but it does at least include 1 year of European breakdown assistance. Most likely due to its low values, there are a lot of Nissan Micras that have been classed for as category C or D write-offs. There are pros and cons to buying such cars, but at the very least, if you're considering one make, sure repairs have been carried out by a reputable company and to a high standard. Also look for the kind of scrapes and small dents that are typical of cars car that have spent a lot of time in towns and cities. The same goes for curved alloy wheels. The Micra has been recalled 6 times. Cars built in 2011 might have suffered a fuel leak. Cars built between June 2012 and March 2013 required a modification to their brakes to ensure consistent feel through the pedal. Between May 2010 and March 2012, Nissan identified a possible fault with the driver's airbag. Cars built between June 2013 in March 2015 that were fitted with an engine start button might need a fix if the button sticks. And in those built between July 2015 and January 2016, an incorrectly specified engine coil could cause the car to stall and not restart. Additionally, all Micras built between 2010 and 2015 were recalled by Nissan to address a potential fault with the engine management system that could cause the car to briefly accelerate even when the driver isn't pressing the pedal. You can find out if the car you're interested in buying has been affected by a recall and whether the work has been carried out by contacting a Nissan dealer with the registration number. Clutches on cars with a manual gearbox can be vulnerable. Look for a clear beating point and try accelerating from a low speed in a high gear to see if there's any clutch slip. When engine revs increase faster than road speed. The CVT automatic gearbox has also caused issues for some owners, but this tends to be when a car hasn't been serviced to schedule. This gearbox requires a fluid change at 3 years old. As such, try to find with a full service history, and if in doubt, get the gearbox checked by Nissan specialists. The cheap interior assembly can also cause rattles and squeaks to develop over time, so listen out for this on a test drive. The same keen ear should be applied to any knocks coming from the suspension as lower wishbones and their bushes have been known to fail prematurely. For a model with such an esteemed reputation for unfailing reliability, the 4th generation Micra is somewhat disappointing for while not catastrophic as far as reliability is concerned, nor does it live up to the high standards of its predecessors. This is reflected in the Micra finishing with a distinctly average score of 54% in the last Watt car reliability survey. The cheapest Nissan Micras are in base level of Vigia trim but make do without air conditioning or alloys wheels. As such, it's worth seeking out at least an Ascenta specification car, which adds these items along with the cruise control and electric door mirrors. Top spec Tecna versions also include parking sensors and keyless go. You'll need to choose a post-2013 facelift car if you want state-light navigation and the NTEC looking particularly well specified. There are also a couple of special editions to be aware of. The Cura and Shira are based on Ascenta specification but also include parking sensors, metallic paint, and heated seats, while Ale models have a panoramic glass roof and a new rear spoiler. Whatever Micra you choose, it's worth paying extra for the supercharged engine, badged DIGS, and sticking with the manual gearbox that benefit from the free road tax. Those in the market for a small car like the Nissan Micra have no shortage of options, with the Ford Fiesta acting as the obvious candidate thanks to its fine ride and handling balance, strong engines, and wide range of trims. The Kia Rio and Hyundai i20, meanwhile, both offered a kinda long-term durability the Micra was once famed for, but with superior ride and handling and more upmarket interiors. If you just want a cheap small car and don't care for niceties such as soft touch plastics in the interior, it's also worth considering the Dacia Sandero, which has the added bonus of being roomier than the Micra. Well, if you're the owner of this car, then please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your feedback that'll help viewers when choosing a car. That's it for today. Thanks everyone for attention. It isn't much work for you to subscribe to the channel. See you soon.